Watch this, Mike. She said, I support black supremacy. I looked up the word supremacy. Supremacy is the state or condition of being superior to all others in authority, power, or status. So it's impossible for a black person to be a black supremacist because we don't have, to a certain extent, we don't have power, authority, and we don't have status. That's what we're trying to get, Mike. Now watch this. The last thing, she called me a racist, right? Okay, now watch this. Definition of racist. A person who believes that a particular race is superior to another. That shows you black people can't even be racist because we're trying to be equal, right? So I just want to say that before, when people use these terms against people, they have to look them up and know what they're saying first.
Yeah.
But just tell me, I mean, I know how you feel.
Yeah.
Just give me your thoughts just on black empowerment and other cultures taking it the wrong way.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, hey, it's a girl that jumped to your inbox. It's kind of funny. I ain't gonna lie.
I mean, yeah, it's funny. It's funny.
But you make a lot of valid points of what you're saying. But it goes back to what you was talking about with this Europe. It's nothing wrong with stressing your opinion on black empowerment, black culture, black people having things for themselves. It's nothing wrong with you stressing that at all. There's nothing wrong with you standing up for what you truly believe in, regardless of what topic it is, whether it's issue, political, economics. I think there's nothing wrong with anybody standing up for what they believe in. But it's always important the way you communicate it to people. You know what I mean? And communication is key because words are power. You know what I mean? Some of the most powerful people, whether they did good with their words or did bad with their words, words is always power. You always got to be careful how you communicate yourself and how clearly you're communicating what you're saying to people, because people can take things the wrong way.
Of course.
So for the girl that jumped in your inbox, probably all she see you doing is talking about white people this, white people hate us, this and that, white people. So it can't come across to her as if you are being a racist. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, because she's not paying attention to the details of the communication of what you're saying. Because I personally know you. I don't think you're racist. You know what I mean? Do I think some of your views and opinions be different than what I mean? Clearly, the overall picture is yes, but that's why we do this thing. But I just think it's important that people understand exactly how you're communicating what you're trying to say to people at the end of the day. But I clearly stand up for what you believe in.
But see, that's my thing too, man. When I say, because every time I speak on this, I make it clear. Now, if you've seen my posts, they be long and detailed. So when I put them out there, I ask people before they make a judgment, assumption, opinion, or comment, read everything and digest everything. Don't read some of it and then try to comment on it, because this stuff didn't even make sense, Mike. There's no such thing. The girl called me a black. She said I support black supremacy. Mike, that don't even make sense. To be a black supremacist, you have to have authority, power, and status. That is what black people are fighting for. So that snatched credibility out of what she was saying anyway.
Of course.
And I always stress the fact that I do not support white supremacy. I don't go at white people because I love everybody, but unfortunately, let me be honest for a second, white people, and I love everybody. This is the thing: white supremacy is real, okay? Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, it's real, okay? And even if you love black people, you benefit from white supremacy because you're white. That's just what it is. If you work for a company that's owned by a guy who supports white supremacy, because of your skin color, it's possible that you can advance. Okay, check this out, white people. You can have issues at your job and you're able to express yourself and they won't hold it against you. A black man like myself, number one, I'm black. I'm dark-skinned black. I'm black as hell. That's just who I am. I scream black power. I wear shirts that say love your roots with Africa on it. As soon as I say something, I don't even have to raise my voice. I could just say something. If I disagree, I'm looked at as an angry black man. The girl also called me an angry black man, now that I remember. She said I'm an angry black man. And this is my thing. No, go ahead, Mike.
No, like I totally understand, but that's why I said the communication aspect is important. You have to make sure you're clear of what you're communicating,
of course,
and how you're communicating it to people. Because at the end of the day, if you're saying something like I said, where I see you more just preaching about what white people do or this and that, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, as from a white person perspective, they probably thinking like, yo, this dude don't like white people.
Okay, I can see that. I can see that.
And it's vice versa. If I see a white person always talking about white people this and white people that, then I might think, hey, they don't like black people. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. It's all about the communication aspect and how you're communicating and having people understand clearly what we're saying or what we're trying to say or what you're saying or what I'm saying. So, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you make a lot of sense of what you're saying right now. You really do. But from that perspective, they probably just don't understand it because that's all they see you talk about. You know what I mean? That's all they see you do. That's all they hear you preach about. That's all they hear you speak about a different race or different culture. So that's the reason why they can think vice versa. What you're saying against them, you probably feel the same way.
But Mike, you want to know what's the dopest thing about some of these racial conversations? Sometimes you're just not meant to understand it. This, Mike, my message isn't, sometimes it's just not meant for white people to understand because you're not living as a black man. So you don't understand it. Now watch this, Mike. I'm going to take it even further. I have white friends who support me. They rock with me, whatever. So I jumped in their inbox because I'm like, man, I want to say, are they offended? I jumped in some of my white friends' inbox. This white girl I used to work with, man, shout out to her. She said something that almost made me cry, Mike. And I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah. I said, hey, you see how I post. You see the things I say, but you still like my stuff. You still friending me. You still support me. Why? I'm going to read you exactly what she said. She said, because I don't know what it's like to be black. Oh my God, Mike.
That's real.
Something as simple as that. When you could let somebody vent. That's just, Mike, I'm going to take it a step further. If a pregnant woman comes to me and she says, oh, the pain, oh, and she just constantly complaining about the pain, I am not qualified to tell her to stop complaining or whatever. You know why? Because I'll never know what it feels to be like to be pregnant, Mike. So I can't speak on that.
That's the honest, realest perspective ever, and it's just that simple. That's a lot. It makes a lot of sense.
Of course, this white girl, she pale as hell white. And that's my man. Shout out to you. I'm not gonna say your name. You know who you are. You're a beautiful person. Now she's real, Mike. That girl said because I don't know what it's like to be black, Mike.
No, like I always say, man. You know, being in business, I deal a lot. I had a lot of dealings with white people, a lot of communication with white people. You know, I had the honest communication when I was in Vegas back in February on a business trip. You know, I had this foreigner stop me. He was half white. He was half white and half German, something like that. But I could tell. I walked past him first, and of course I had on a business suit because when I'm in business, I always wear suits and all that. I walked past him one time, and I could see him staring at me up and down. I walked past him again, and he stopped me, and he pulled me to the side, and he said, "Hey, you know, I want to ask you a question." You know, and first I was kind of caught off guard because I'm thinking he's gonna ask me something about, you know, his clothing or whatever like that. So he was like, why don't more black people dress like you? You know what I mean? So I asked him a question. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, look at you. You got on a suit. You got on this. You know, you look very nice. I look around you. Look at the other black people. You know? And so for one moment I had to catch myself because honestly, as a black person, you probably would have been offended. Or we could have been offended. That's our natural reaction whenever a different race inquires about why as black people we do a certain thing. But I had to sit back and I had to honestly understand, to that white girl's point, she doesn't understand how it is to be black. So he don't understand how it is to why black people dress a certain way or look a certain way all the time, especially when you're conducting business. And I had to take the time out to obviously explain it to him. I won't go in detail everything I said, but after having a conversation with him, this 5-10 minute conversation, you know what this guy did?
What was that?
He said, thank you, for the first time in my life, I understand black people a little bit. Just a little bit.
Okay.
That particular message, that particular conversation between me and him gave him a little bit of understanding, whether it was 1%, 5%, 2%, but he gave him a little bit of understanding from a black man's perspective. So I say that to say this. A lot of times it just takes us explaining who we are, C-Rob.
Okay.
It takes us kind of letting people understand why we do what we do, or why we act the way we act. Because a lot of times when they comment, it's not the fact that they're judging, but it's the fact the more they're just trying to understand. And it's hard to understand black people because black people are very different than any race in the world. That's just a simple matter of fact. We come from slavery. We come from a lot of different things. We're very different. The hip-hop culture is the most influential culture on any race. I don't care what race you are. You're inspired by hip-hop culture. It just takes us kind of more explaining to people why we do it instead of also getting to offense so quick when they ask questions or make comments.
Yeah, but I'm with you, and it also depends on how they approach you. See, that guy that you were talking about, I could talk to him. He's just asking a simple question, Mike.
Yeah.
But when you jump and attack somebody, oh, you're ignorant, you're black supremacy, you're racist, you know, now I'm on defense.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm able to look at where you're coming from, and I'm able to express myself without even attacking you. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of people.
But that's what I think, that opportunity for you was also explain that to her. You know what I mean? To where you're coming from. Because at the end of the day, going back and forth